Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you, my students? I hope that you're happy and healthy and ready for today's lesson, which is the project lesson of the Unit 2. But before we do that, let's take some of the exercises in the workbook, page 92. Exercise J. Answer the questions, write sentences. So we'll be answering these questions. Why are products packaged in a particular way? Think of examples. Is packaging used to preserve food products? Is it used to promote products? Why do people who live off the grid avoid buying packaged goods? And question number 5, think of products that have multiple packaging. For example, plastic wrappers as well as paper box. What do you do with the packaging? Do you think it's necessary? Why or why not? So these are some questions about the writing lesson, if you remember, the writing lesson in the student's book. So before we answer the questions, let's take the writing article here. Let's listen to it together. Then we will be answering the questions. Of course, if you remember this article about the packaging and how is it against the approach to going green. So let's listen to it together, at least to get some ideas to answer the questions. Let's listen.
I realized how sensible going green was when I started noticing the amount of waste accumulated from all the packaging. We're a family of 3 and we manage to accumulate a bag full of recyclable waste every day. We are careful to use a special disposal unit for recyclable materials, but we are not sure it is always effective. Is it actually recycled? We decided to search for options. We found out that there were many stores near the central market that sold goods by weight out of large canisters or burlap bags. Rice, beans, flour, sugar, oil, butter, cheese, and a lot more are available off the counter, free of packaging. When we compared prices, we decided to never look back. A lot of time, money, and resources are invested in packaging as a way of making the product more attractive for consumers. Glossy wrappers, beautifully designed boxes, vacuum-wrapped coffee, plastic containers, colorful lids, and a lot more, have a magnetic effect on buyers. We, on the other hand, have to label and fill our own containers, before we can put away our shopping. But, we make better use of cupboard space, spend a lot less, and protect the environment. You should try it.
So now that we have listened to the writing lesson, if you remember, let's answer some of these questions. Of course, these questions are a matter of your choice, your own preference, your own view, and it's connected with the writing lesson about packaging, and also the reading, and also the conversation through the whole unit. If you remember the conversation about recycling between Ibrahim and Jassim, and also the reading about the going green approach and how does a person go green, and about the grid, off the grid, what does it mean. So all of these are connected to these questions. So these questions are about the theme of this unit. Number 1, why are products packaged in a particular way? Think of examples. So now that we have listened to the writing lesson about packaging, why are products packaged in a particular way? Try to think of some examples. Why are they, when you go to a grocery store and you see the packaged goods, the packaged food, why are they packaged in this way? Think of some examples. So you can give me any answer that you want, but for me, I wrote this answer. Products are packaged in a particular way to protect them from damage. So, of course, the packaging protects the food or the goods inside from damage. Make packing and transport easier. It makes the packing and transporting easier and present them in an attractive manner. For example, cereals like cornflakes comes in colorful boxes with a vacuum sealed paper bag inside containing the cereal. Eggs come in a special plastic or paper mache case. So why are products packaged in a particular way? To protect them from damage, and it makes the transport easier and also to make them attractive. So number 2, is packaging used to preserve food products? Again, is packaging used to preserve food products? the packaging, are they used to preserve the products, the food? So I wrote the answer here. Certain types of packaging are used to preserve food products. For example, canned milk and other food, vacuum wrapped cheese or meat, vacuum packaged nuts. So certain types, not all of them, certain types of packaging are used to preserve food products. For example here, canned milk and other food, vacuum wrapped cheese or meat, vacuum packaged nuts. So question number 3 here, is it used to promote products? The packaging, the boxes, are they used to promote the products? Do you think that they are used to promote the products, make them more attractive? So let's see the answer here. Packaging is used to promote products. Of course they are. Some boxes, colorful boxes, especially if these products are for children, make them more attractive and more appealing to them. Number 4, why do people live off the grid, avoid buying packaged goods? So I think this is an easy one because we've just heard it in the article. Why do people who live off the grid avoid buying packaged goods? The people who decide to live off the grid, why do they prefer not buying a packaged goods? So let's see the answer here. People who live off the grid avoid buying packaged goods to avoid polluting the environment and causing further environmental damage. So it's all about environment. It's all about going green. So again, to avoid polluting the environment and causing further environmental damage. Number 5, think of products that have multiple packaging. For example, plastic wrappers as well as paper box. What do you think? What do you do with the packaging? Do you think it's necessary? Why or why not? So you have to think of products that have multiple packaging, more than one packaging. For example, plastic wrappers as well as paper box. Some of the packaging here, they have two things, paper box and inside are some plastic wrappers. Do you think it's necessary? Do you think all this packaging is necessary? Why or why not? So this is, of course, try to think of something or maybe discuss it with your colleague and try to come up with an answer. My answer here is there are plenty of products with multiple packaging, such as frozen seafood in plastic wrapping in a cardboard box. So we have now two packaging here. Many people dispose of the packaging by throwing it away with the rest of the garbage. We try to throw all plastic, paper and glass objects into a special recycling bin. Of course, do you think it's necessary? Maybe some of them are necessary to preserve the food from rotting maybe. Why or why not? I just gave the reason to preserve the food. Exercise K here, consider the type of packaging that is used for different products and write which is environmentally friendly and which is harmful to the environment. So try to consider the type of packaging for these products and is it environmentally friendly or not. Paper cartons, for example, in cartons of milk. Paper cartons, the boxes, paper cartons. For example, when you buy a milk, this is a paper carton. So, and again, consider the type of packaging that is used for different products and write which is environmentally friendly and which is harmful to the environment. Talking about here paper cartons like milk, do you think it's environmentally friendly or not? Let's check the answer here. Paper cartons can be recycled. However, they require wood for the paper, so more trees are cut. So they are not environmentally friendly. So this is maybe half and half answer. Paper boxes can be recycled. We know that. But the way it's made, the paper is made of wood from trees. So this would require cutting these trees. So at the end of the day, it's not environmentally friendly. This is if you are supporting the approach of going green. Plastic containers or bottles, for example, orange juice, oil, or shampoo. Plastic containers or bottles. So plastic containers or plastic bottles like a shampoo or an orange juice. Do you think this is environmentally friendly? I think this is an obvious one here. plastic containers or bottles are harmful to the environment. We know that plastic, we're trying to avoid using plastic bags or plastic bottles. So plastic containers or bottles are harmful to the environment. Glass bottles or jars, for example, jam, perfume, or maybe spices. Glass bottles or jars. So the glass bottles or jars using maybe for drinks or here it says perfume, spices. What do you think about glass? Okay, let's see the answer here. Glass bottles or jars can be recycled or reused maybe. If they are not recycled, they can be harmful to the environment as they are often the cause of forest fires and fires in general, especially in hot weather. So maybe this is a half and half answer because glass bottles again or jars can be recycled. So glass can be recycled or maybe reused. When you buy a glass jar, you don't throw it out, you use it for something else to put inside, maybe cookies on something else. If they are not recycled, if glass are not recycled, they will be danger. Why? Because they maybe cause fire. They can be harmful to the environment as they are often the cause of forest fires and fires in general, especially in hot weather. Continuing here, what about cellophane bags or wrapping? For example, chocolates and candy. What about cellophane bags or wrappings? For example, chocolates or candies. So what do you think of these wrappers? Let's see the answer here together. Cellophane bags or wrappers can be recycled, we know that, and are biodegradable, so they are environmentally friendly. So they are okay because they are recyclable and biodegradable, so they are environmentally friendly. What about paper packaging? For example, rice, pasta, and cookies. The paper packaging, like rice or cookies, what about them? Can we check the answer here? Paper packaging can be recycled, but more trees are cut in order to make paper that is used for wrapping, writing, etc. So it's harmful. So it's like the paper boxes previously. It can be recycled, but it comes from trees. Therefore, it's harmful to the environment. Paper and plastics, for example, batteries and gadgets. Paper and plastic. So I think this is an easy one. Paper and plastic packaging is usually thrown away and is harmful to the environment. Of course, plastics are harmful to the environment. Cloth bags and wrappers, for example, scarves, slippers, and jewelry. Cloth bags and wrappers. So, for example, scarves or slippers or jewelry. So are these harmful to the environment? Let's see the answer here. Cloth bags and wrappers are environmentally friendly because they can be reused and do not cause any damage. Of course, we know that they can be reused and they don't cause any damage. Can we recycle or reuse some of the packaging? If so, how? Some of the packaging that you get, the paper or the plastic, can we reuse them? If so, how? We can reuse paper or card boxes in the store to store things. You put once you are done with them, you can store things inside. We can use the cloth bags and wrappers to store things or carry them even. Cellophane bags can be reused to pack or store things. Glass bottles and jars can be reused to store jam maybe or spices, oil, etc. But they can also be cut and turned into water glasses, candle holders, or pencil holders. So yes, they can be recycled or reused. Exercise L here, look at the picture. Take notes on things and people, nouns, you can see, and what is happening, verbs. Write words to describe the picture, adjectives. So open your workbook, page 92, and see exercise L, look at the picture, and take notes about the nouns. What do you see in this picture? Nouns. And what is happening, verbs. Write the verbs, what's happening in the picture, and try to describe the picture using adjectives. So what do you see in the picture that described as nouns? Let's see here. Yes, you can see boys, children, gloves, bins, containers, rubbish, garbage, trees, and of course environment because of the recycle logo. What about the verbs? What about the verbs? Can you see what's happening in the picture? Can you use verbs? Do you see what's happening in the picture? Use verbs here. Let's see the answer here. Carry, collect, sort, put into, recycle, help. Carry, because the boy is carrying the recycle bin. Collect, sort, put into, recycle, and help. Excellent. What about the adjective? Write words to describe the picture. Try to come up with adjective describing some of the things in the picture. Okay, let's see some here. Aware, friendly, happy, hardworking, active, and conscious or conscious. So write sentences to tell people how they can go greener. The other part of this question. Write sentences to tell people how can they go greener. So I wrote 3 here. For example, children are conscious of what needs to be done to preserve the environment. So you can look at the picture, try to come up with sentences here. Again, children are conscious of what needs to be done to preserve the environment. Try to come up with 2 more. For example, here, number 2, they are proud to be active participants in green projects. Number 3, they often participate in clean the forest or clean the beach campaigns enthusiastically. So these are 3 examples, 3 sentences to tell people how they can go greener just by looking at the picture. Exercise M here. Where does your food come from? Take notes on everything you eat in a day. Write down where you or your friend, family member, or restaurant bought it and where it was grown or produced. If it came in a package, look where the package come from. If it is a fresh food like fruits and vegetables, look for a sticker or sign that it says where it was grown. So you can see here the chart: food you ate, where you bought it, where it was grown or made. So this we have 3 columns, and you see here fruits, vegetables, milk and dairy, meat, poultry and fish, grains and breads, snacks, other, and you can do some of them. For example, I did the fruits and vegetables. For example, tomatoes. Where you bought it? Of course, I bought it from the vegetable market. Where was it? Where it was grown or made? It was grown in a farm, maybe. Milk and dairy. Milk and dairy. I drank some milk. I bought some milk. Where you bought it? Of course, from the grocery store. Was it where it is? What was grown or made? Maybe it was made from some of the milk, some of the farms here in Saudi Arabia. Meat, poultry, and fish. For example, meat. Where you bought it? Butcher shop. And you can continue all of these by yourself now that you get the idea. Write about where your food comes from and how this might have an impact on the environment. Explain ways that you could buy more locally grown and made food. So write an article about all of the information that was written in the chart. So revising our previous lesson, we took the simple present tense that is used for facts and things that are true in general. And also we took the simple present and the present progressive. The simple present we used to talk about habits or routines. The progressive for actions that are happening now or for temporary situation. And we took some examples here. John lives in Quebec. This is permanent. This is a fact. But he is studying in France this year. This is temporary. So we used the progressive here and the present simple here. We also took time expressions for the present. For example, we are currently means now, studying for examinations and so on. We also took the conditional sentences with present and future forms. Conditional sentences using if to talk about cause and results. If you remember, we have 2 clauses, the if clause and the result clause. Present, future, and we also took the may and might. And we also took I'd rather. It's short for I would rather. To talk about preferences, you say I would rather. It means that you prefer to do this thing. For example here, I'd rather go now. So jumping to today's lesson, create posters promoting going green in school. This is the project here. If you remember, if you know the 2020 G20 summit, the G20 was founded in 1999 as a gathering between finance ministers and central bank governors of the world's 20 largest economies. Today, it continues to be a forum for economic cooperation between heads of state and government officials. In December 2019, Saudi Arabia was announced as the 2020 G20 presidency. The kingdom prepared an ambitious 2020 G20 agenda under the theme Realizing Opportunities of the 21st Century for All. The agenda focused on three main goals: empowering people, safeguarding planet Earth, and shaping a new frontier. Leaders from 20 nations participated in the event hosted by King Salman, including the United States, China, Japan, Germany, and India. So this is a brief review about the 2020 G20 summit. So this is the project here. Number one. One of the goals of the G20 2020 summit is to protect the planet. Design and make posters promoting going green in your school. So you have to design a poster about one of the goals of the 2020 G20 summit about the approach of going green. Number two, work in pairs or groups, research conditions, practices, and place in your school that are not environmentally friendly. For example, rooms where the lights or air conditioners remain switched on when not in use, leaking taps that waste water, lack of litter bins in certain areas, etc. Number three, research and complete the chart with the information and details about the place. Number four, use the organizer to make notes. Then use your notes to prepare your poster. When you make a poster, remember to, the first point here, research and find suitable photos and pictures or draw your own. Consider other options such as making a collage with a series of picture photos. Write short text and slogans using your notes or ideas. Use a font that is large enough for people to read when the poster is on the wall. So use a large font. Be selective. Do not try to fit too much in, because people who see it will miss the point if you are trying to make. Print out or write text on separate sheets of paper so you can compose your poster in a more imaginative manner. So print out or write text in separate sheets. The last one here, include some realia, if appropriate, by gluing or attaching things to your poster. For example, used up wrappers, used up markers, used up batteries, etc. So use some realia, some of the things that you find in your real life, like wrappers or batteries. As you can see here, these are some supportive pictures here. If you remember the wind farm or the solar power or the recycling bin. So this is the chart here. Let's go green. A condition or place or practice in school that is harmful to the environment. For example, leaving the air conditioner on when leaving the class, for example. The reason it is harmful, because it's stressing the power grid and it's also causing problems for the environment or polluting the air. What students can do to make it greener? Of course, turn off the AC when leaving, and you can use some pictures or images on the poster. Also, another example, using too much water when performing ablution maybe, or just leaving the water on. So what's the reason it is harmful? Because it's decreasing the water supply. What students can do to make it greener? Of course, use water moderately and turn off the tap when leaving. So, and you can put some images or pictures in your poster, and you can continue the rest by yourself. And with that, we reach the end of this lesson. See you next lesson, inshallah. Subhanakallah wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum.